It was a very interesting session for me. I'm Andrew Ward from Brunel University, and I wasn't expecting him to, but Greg said several interesting things about universities in the course of his talk, and I thought I'd reflect on those a bit. He's absolutely right about two things. One is it's undoubtedly the case that the fees will rise next year, whatever happens, whichever government's in power. And that will change the relationship between students and the university fundamentally. He was talking about a rise to 5,000. I've heard people in the Business Innovation Skills Department talk about a rise to 7,000, which £21,000 of fees over 3 years for an undergraduate. That really will change their view of the world, and that's going to be a big shock for us in universities. The other point he raised, which is really important too, is the Google world, where actually students can get as much stuff off the net as they can from their teachers. And so again, what can a teacher offer that the net can't? And that's going to be the real challenge. And I don't think we've thought through that in a kind of systematic way either. And those two things coming together is going to be fundamental. The third issue he raised, which I think is really important, is about leadership. And I don't think it's any secret that in the higher education sector the quality of leadership has been somewhat interesting, should we say. I mean, four vice-chancellors have been sacked this year for poor performance as such, effectively. And the relationship between a governing body and a council and the VC is actually very interesting too. So all those kind of issues were important for us. The kind of view he set out on leadership is one that, just through personal experience, I think actually fits the bill as such. We've got to have people who can say hello to someone at the beginning of the door, as they go through the door, and make them feel like they belong to the same institution. Actually making a tie-up between an individual's satisfaction and feeling good about going to work and the performance of an institution is actually really important too. The business about not getting tied into the detail and actually knowing that other people have the ideas and you're just going to meant to make them happen is really important. And all those kind of things, which are standard stuff in a way, don't necessarily actually happen. The last thing I want to say is that we had a good conversation about the social agenda, and there's one interesting aspect of what's happening at the moment because of the recession which is worthy of rather kind of serious reflection. And that is, if we look back to the number of students graduating this year, how many of them are unemployed, there are surprisingly few. One would think, if you've read the papers and whatnot, that most students who have graduated can't get a job. Not true. What we have seen, though, is students will go for jobs they wouldn't usually have gone for. So they will be in retail stores, they will be behind bars, they will be actually having a first stage job in their careers, which a year ago, 2 years ago, if they'd come out of university, they'd have turned down. All fair and goodly. But what it means, of course, is that young unemployed people who have no qualifications have nowhere to go, because they'll go along for the job that would be normally theirs as such, as someone with no qualifications, and there's a bushy-tailed graduate standing there saying the right things in the right way and getting the job. So actually, the way in which students have been able to protect themselves, if you like, is a way in which endangers society, because we have a growing number of people who are just unable to get in the job market at all, and we need to address that robustly and rapidly. Otherwise we'll have the BNP doing much better than now at the moment, and that is the threat that's real for us ahead. So it's been a really interesting morning. Greg was very stimulating, and I wasn't surprised to hear so many things that he said be relevant to what I do in the day job. So thanks very much, and thanks very much for Insider Secrets.